In the battle for the crucial Georgia Senate seat between incumbent Raphael Warnock and wildly and stunningly unfit for the job Herschel Walker, why are we surprised? He is, after all, the chosen pick from the Orange Jesus, although we cannot work with precise charts, since all we know for these two men is day of birth, but without times of birth. Still, there looks to be enough information to suggest which way this is going to go, especially if we take into account the context of the situation, which, without a shadow of a doubt, has become quite problematic for the ex-football player Herschel Walker, because over the last while, ex-girlfriends are going public to strongly impugn his character on account of paid abortions, absentee parenting, and what amounts to staggering hypocrisy, since he's running his campaign, as required by an increasingly extremist Republican Party, on an extreme anti-abortion stance with no exceptions for rape or incest. Based on what I'm able to gauge from Herschel's day positions, I would say he is in the proverbial journey colloquially known as up the creek without a paddle, because the last transiting planet you want to have all over you, so to speak, is karmic accountability Saturn, which is conjoining 4 of his planets in Aquarius, possibly 5 if the moon is also there, and for which the odds of that are actually pretty high. Saturn contacts are always when the karma comes home, and he's finding that out when he hears an ex-girlfriend remind him of his past misdeeds, and as if that were not enough, even his own son, which, to add fuel to the fire, happens to be an ardent right-wing conservative, and yet explicitly states on camera that his dad, Herschel, is an utterly irresponsible father and a world-class liar. In other words, the last kind of publicity you want to be getting in the last month of your political campaign. And we cannot forget about the other major player in this transiting volcano, and that would be Uranus, which is still making a square to Saturn in the sky, and is putting pressure on his Mercury from Taurus. This is a planet that brings in the shock and the unexpected development, even though apparently his campaign knew about his sordid secrets, but I'm sure he's nonetheless finding it quite shocking to see his dirty underwear all over the media airwaves. Notice that his natal Uranus is opposite his Mars-Jupiter conjunction, so it is wired in and will transit that energy when it moves, and since it is in the sign of Leo, it brings in the matter of children. And there you have the story in a nutshell. To make matters even worse, a look at the day of the election reveals that 3 of the fast-moving trigger transit planets, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus, are effectively triggering the Saturn-Uranus pressure from Scorpio. To me, this is a thumbs-down situation, a perfect recipe for losing. Meanwhile, in Warnock's chart, the stamp of victory comes from a natal Jupiter harmoniously aligned with the Sun, even while in the current period it is transiting and trine to that Sun. So, absent some lottery-like combinations related to their respective times of birth, which might possibly save Herschel and defeat Warnock, I'm calling this one to stay Democratic, as Warnock keeps his seat and sends Herschel into the political dustbin of history, where he richly belongs, because this man has absolutely no business being a United States Senator. None whatsoever, less than none. That he is running for this seat at all is a criminal travesty, which of course would have to have orange fingerprints all over it. What else could we expect? As Rick Wilson famously titled his book, "Everything Trump touches dies."